Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, but you probably know that if you've been watching my videos, because we don't talk about much else. Today we're talking about an article that was sent to me by not one, but two friends of the channel, David and Rebecca, because I think people are really worried about this right now. Essentially, what Google, and I'm sure you all know Google, it's one of the largest tech employers in the world, and certainly one of the largest tech companies in the world. What they're up to now is that Reuters, the news agency, has gotten images of a salary calculator they created. And that calculator is going to be applied to you if you're a Google employee if you specifically choose to work from home, right? They've been working from home all this time during the pandemic, and they've been paying everybody 100% of their salary. But now what they're doing is they're saying, hey, we get it. A lot of you like working from home. A lot of you do across the nation, especially people who live in major urban centers or who have long commutes. You all really like working from home. And that's cool. You can still do that. But we're going to dock you pay. We're going to lower your salary if you continue working from home because we want people to come back in. Okay? And the calculator works out that if you decide to work from home, your pay will be reduced by up to 25%, which is pretty massive, right? It seems like a lot of the people are going to be, reduced more like 10%, things of that nature. The article gives an example. There's a person who works out of Google's Seattle office and commutes about 2 hours a day, and for that individual to work from home permanently, it was about a 10% reduction in salary. That's a big deal, right? That's a really big deal. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, that sounds kind of worth it to not have to commute 2 hours a day. I mean, think of all that time that you're getting back. It's huge, right? So, it's not the end of the world for these people. Like, I kind of get what Google's doing. And more importantly, I think that Google is a little bit more able to do this than other tech companies because there's a lot of prestige tied up in Google, right? Google doesn't have to be as competitive with compensation because it's prestigious to work there. It builds your resume. Amazon's kind of the same way, right? Like, generally folks don't think they're going to make a career out of Amazon, right? Like executives, high-end engineering talent, they'll work at Amazon. And it'll be lucrative, but it's not going to be as lucrative, generally speaking, as it might be elsewhere. And the corporate environment, the corporate culture is kind of, let's call it dicey. It's a little rough, right? So a lot of them, they're looking to do 3 to 5 years with Amazon, get that prestige on the resume, and then move on. It's kind of a similar vibe with Google, minus some of the corporate culture stuff. Like Google's, I think, much more of a pleasant place to work for most people than Amazon. And, it's also, this is broad generalities. This is not going to be accurate for everyone, right? I'm sure you can find a department in Amazon that is like the most amazing place to work. And it's incredible and you'll never leave. And you'll have a lifetime career there. You'll be happy every single day you go to work. And it's lovely, right? But we're talking in generalities, what I hear from people who work at these companies. So when you're the prestigious company, right? And some talent comes to you and is like, hey, you want to reduce my salary by 10% because I don't want to come to work. But Reddit over there is location agnostic. They don't care where I work from. They're going to give me 100% of my salary. Google's going to like, yeah, sure. Reddit's a big deal. It's not as big a deal as us. Not going to do for your career what working for us might do, but we can see why you might want to do that. You sure you want to do that? And they're not going to be that competitive, right? They're not going to feel the pressure, at least not right away, to make this move. So no, this is completely legal, right? And it's different. If you have a work from home accommodation because you have a medical issue, well, that's a different story. They can't at that point be docking your pay for working from home. And if they do, you have a potential claim. But here, where they're saying, hey, if you're healthy and you can come into the office and you just don't feel like it, you don't want to, well, we're gonna lower your salary. They're gonna get away with that for a little while. I don't think they're going to get away with that for very long. I think employees really, really, really value work from home. And I think there's going to be a lot of pushback on this. I actually don't think this is going to last more than a year, right? Basically, populations of high end employees that used to congregate in urban centers, generally on the coasts, and like, Atlanta and like Austin and, Dallas and stuff like that. Those populations kind of discovered during the pandemic, you know, we don't really live living in the city. Didn't go so great. Kind of falling apart, right? Services broke down. Things weren't great during the pandemic. It's really expensive. The world's kind of opening up. We could live better places. We could have more room. We could have a lower cost of living. And that's really, really valuable to us, right? Now, that is what Google is banking on. Google's going to say, well, this is such a good deal for them that they can move to wherever they want to live. They can go live in a ski resort, right? They can go live in France. They can go live in Bora Bora, right? If they have the correct connectivity and the correct security features. Well, yeah, they can do that. And they're going to do that, right? And they're probably going to take Google up on this for a while. But at some point, they're going to say, well, if Reddit doesn't care where I live, or a company like Reddit, or all the other tech companies that have to be more competitive to get talent, if they don't care where I live and they are going to pay me, 10 or 25% more, I mean, is Google that great now? Has it lost a couple steps by getting to be some massive corporation and, kind of shunting aside that do no evil motto? Like, that's not really in play anymore. Some of those deals with China were pretty ugly, right? So I don't know how long that extra competitive edge is going to last. I think this is going to be a 1-2 year thing max, and you're going to find Google has to roll it back. I think they're going to have to say, ooh, yeah, we are not getting the best and brightest anymore. We need to look at this policy, right? But it is legal, certainly for now, so long as your work from home is not medically required, you don't have an accommodation in place for your disability. If it's just something you prefer and they dock your pay for that or they lower your salary for that, that's going to be legal. That's going to fly, generally speaking, unless your contract says otherwise. Now, listen, some jurisdictions could have different laws. We're talking kind of on a federal level and in generalities. All right? I'm sure people have many things to say about this. Comment down below. I'll check the comments. I'll try to respond. Like and subscribe. It helps me to help more people just like you. And I will link the article down below as well.